As you settle into stillness and begin to let your thoughts drift like clouds across a quiet sky, we turn our attention inward not to worry or ponder, but to observe with soft curiosity. Beneath your skin, a great many things are unfolding. Silently, rhythmically, life continues its gentle course. The human body is often likened to a machine, a system of parts that work together. But unlike the clatter of gears or the whir of engines, the body's processes unfold in silence. They are fluid, continuous, and deeply harmonious. Nothing illustrates this quiet coordination more beautifully than the circulatory system, the body's inner river. From head to toe, each of us is made up of trillions of cells, each with its own small purpose. To keep them alive, and to keep you well, they require a steady flow of nourishment, oxygen, nutrients, water, and just as importantly, a means of carrying away what is no longer needed. This is the circulatory system's role. It is the vessel of life's quiet continuity. When we speak of the circulatory system, we mean the entire network through which blood travels, the heart, the vessels, and the blood itself. These components work not in isolation, but as one, delivering what is needed, when it is needed, with astonishing precision, all of it without thought, all of it in the background. This flow of blood rich with oxygen after it visits the lungs, laden with nutrients after passing through the intestines, carries with it the very elements of life. It flows to the farthest reaches of your being, to fingertips and toes, to scalp and skin, to organs nestled deep within. Every cell, no matter how small, receives its share. The system also carries signals in the form of hormones, messages from one part of the body to another, quietly orchestrating change and regulation. It manages heat, helping to warm or cool the body as needed. It is the body's quiet courier and gentle thermostat, all in one. But this system is more than plumbing. It is dynamic and responsive. If you run, it quickens. If you sleep, it slows. If you are frightened, it surges. And when you relax as you are now, it settles back into calm, its tempo as soft and steady as a lullaby. This is where we begin our journey, not with complexity or technicalities, but with appreciation. For the circulatory system is not just a collection of parts, it is a testament to quiet endurance. From the first moments of life to the final breath, the blood flows, unceasing, undemanding, essential. As we drift further into rest, we'll explore this system gently, piece by piece, layer by layer. Like tracing the branches of a tree from trunk to twig, we will come to understand the quiet brilliance of the body's inner flow. You do not need to remember every detail. Let the words simply wash over you, like a stream over smooth stones. You are listening, you are resting, and that is more than enough. Part 2. The circulatory system, a vital transport network. Imagine a landscape seen from above. A web of rivers winds its way through valleys and plains, feeding forests, lakes, and quiet meadows. Now, draw that same vision inward toward your own body, where a similar network of flow and nourishment unfolds quietly beneath the surface. This is the circulatory system, your body's internal river system, endlessly flowing. At its core, the circulatory system is a transport network. It moves not only blood, but with it life's many essentials: oxygen from the lungs, nutrients from the digestive system, hormones from glands, waste products destined for removal. All these elements travel together through miles of vessels, coursing in a circuit that touches every part of you. To grasp this system gently, we begin by understanding its broad structure. The heart, nestled in the center of the chest, is the pump, soft but steady, pulsing with quiet determination. Blood vessels act as conduits. They branch and narrow, curve and widen, forming pathways that reach even the smallest spaces. And the blood itself, a warm red river, flows with purpose, never pausing. This journey takes place in loops. One loop sends blood to the lungs, where it collects oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. This is called the pulmonary circulation. The other, much larger loop carries oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body, to the brain, the skin, the organs, and every tissue in between. This is the systemic circulation. Together, these two loops form a perfect circuit, each completing a cycle, then beginning again. Blood leaves the heart, travels through arteries, moves into capillaries where exchange occurs, and returns through veins. Then the rhythm repeats, always flowing, always circulating. Let us consider for a moment the scale of this network. If laid end to end, the blood vessels in your body would stretch for thousands of miles. They pass through muscles and organs, under skin and bone, coiling gently through your entire form. And yet, most of the time, we are unaware of their presence. Their work is quiet, their rhythm nearly imperceptible. The blood is not just a passenger, it is also a messenger, a carrier, a responder. It carries glucose to fuel your cells. It delivers white blood cells to defend against invaders. It transports clotting factors that seal wounds and platelets that begin repair. It carries warmth from your core to your fingers. It adjusts. It adapts. It heals. It also whispers signals throughout the body. Hormones released by glands enter the bloodstream and are carried to distant organs. A message from the thyroid, for example, can travel to the liver or to the bones. These signals help regulate growth, temperature, hunger, mood, and sleep, all coordinated through this one vast system. And like any good transport system, it is guided by need. When you rest, blood slows and flows inward. When you move, it speeds up, redirecting to your muscles. After a meal, it flows toward the digestive organs. After a fright, to your limbs, always responding, always adjusting. Yet for all its responsiveness, the circulatory system also preserves calm. It prevents wild fluctuations. It smooths out changes. It returns the body to balance, a state we call homeostasis. Whether the outside world is warm or cold, calm or chaotic, the circulatory system remains quietly devoted to this inner harmony. You might not feel it, but in this very moment, your heart is working for you. Your blood is traveling, delivering oxygen to your brain, carrying nutrients to your cells, and gently maintaining your temperature. All of this is happening not with fanfare, not with effort, but as part of a steady background rhythm. In essence, the circulatory system is your body's great traveler and caretaker. It moves with silent urgency, keeping every cell alive, every system supported, every function nourished. You are a living map of its pathways, its circuits, its quiet diligence. As we continue, we'll look more closely at each of its parts, the vessels, the heart, the blood itself. But for now, rest in the knowledge that something wise and steady flows through you, unseen, unfelt, but always present. Part 3. Components of the circulatory system. As the world quiets around you, and your breath finds its slow, steady rhythm, we now turn gently to the parts that make up this flowing system of life. The circulatory system, though complex, can be understood in 3 graceful elements: the heart, the vessels, and the blood itself. Together, these components perform a delicate dance, one that sustains every breath you take, every step you make, every moment of your life, whether waking or asleep. Let us begin with the heart, not in the poetic sense, but as an organ of remarkable design and quiet endurance. About the size of a clenched fist, the human heart rests behind your sternum, slightly to the left. It is wrapped in a protective sac called the pericardium and nestled between the lungs, surrounded by the soft tissues of the chest. Though small in size, It is powerful in purpose. The heart is composed of muscle, not like the muscles of your arms or legs, but of a special kind known as cardiac muscle. This tissue is tireless. It contracts rhythmically, day and night, generating the pressure that moves blood throughout the body. On average, it beats more than 100 times a day, quietly, persistently. Inside, the heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 atria at the top, and 2 ventricles below. Blood flows into the atria and is then passed into the ventricles, which contract and send it out through the vessels. Valves between these chambers ensure the flow is always in one direction forward, never backward like gentle gates, opening and closing with each beat. These valves make the characteristic sounds of the heartbeat, the soft lub and dub, as they close to guide the blood along its course. From the heart, the blood moves into vessels. These are the highways of the circulatory system, and they come in 3 main types. First are the arteries, thick-walled vessels that carry blood away from the heart. They are strong, elastic, and capable of withstanding the pressure created by each heartbeat. The largest artery, the aorta, rises from the left ventricle and branches into smaller arteries that reach every region of the body. As arteries divide and narrow, they become arterioles, and eventually the tiniest vessels of all capillaries. These are narrow enough that blood cells must travel through them in single file. It is here, in these quiet junctions, that the real exchange occurs. Oxygen is delivered, nutrients are absorbed, and waste is collected. From the capillaries, blood begins its return journey, passing into venules and then into veins, the third type of vessel. Veins are wider and more passive than arteries. They carry blood back to the heart, now depleted of oxygen, but rich with carbon dioxide and other byproducts of metabolism. Veins rely on valves, 2 small flaps that prevent backflow and keep the blood moving upward, even against gravity. Often, the surrounding muscles help push blood along, compressing the veins gently as you move or breathe. Finally, there is the blood itself, the medium of life, the river in motion. Blood is not a uniform fluid, but a suspension of different cells and molecules, each with a specific role. Red blood cells make up the majority. They are small, round, and flexible, carrying oxygen on molecules of hemoglobin, a pigment that gives blood its crimson hue. Each red cell lives about 120 days, traveling through the body thousands of times, before being gently recycled by the spleen and liver. White blood cells, fewer in number, are the guardians of your health. They patrol the body for signs of infection or injury, ready to respond, to defend, to repair. Platelets are even smaller, tiny fragments of cells that help the blood clot. When a vessel is injured, platelets gather there, sealing the breach and beginning the process of healing. And then there is plasma, a pale, straw-colored liquid that carries everything else. Hormones, nutrients, waste products, salts, proteins, all dissolve in plasma, which makes up more than half of the blood's volume. It flows with ease, supporting every journey, every delivery. Together, these components, the heart, the vessels, and the blood, form a system of quiet complexity, and though we study them separately, they function as one, a single, seamless system, a partnership built on timing, balance, and trust. As you rest deeper into stillness, you can take comfort in the knowledge that this system continues, regardless of your awareness. It flows for you, without request. It protects you, without pause. It connects each part of you, from your fingertips to your bones, from the brain behind your eyes, to the soles of your feet. And now, with this understanding of the circulatory system's graceful design, we are ready to follow the path of the blood itself, beginning with its source and its rhythm, the heart. Part 4. The heart, a quiet engine, deep within the center of your chest, Nestled behind your ribs and slightly left of center, there lies a quiet engine. It makes no announcement of its presence, no grand display, yet it beats without rest from the moment life begins to the moment it ends. This engine is the heart, about the size of a closed fist. The human heart weighs less than a pound, and yet its strength is profound. With every gentle contraction, it sends blood flowing to the lungs, to the body, and back again in a ceaseless rhythm that continues even as you sleep. The heart is made up of specialized muscle known as cardiac muscle, a tissue unlike any other in the body. It does not tire as skeletal muscles do. It does not pause or falter. Its cells are tightly connected by intercalated discs, tiny bridges, that allow electrical impulses to pass swiftly from one cell to the next, enabling the heart to contract as one coordinated whole. The outer surface of the heart is covered in a smooth, glistening membrane called the pericardium, which cushions and protects it. Between the layers of this membrane lies a small amount of fluid, which allows the heart to move effortlessly within its sac, beating silently against the lungs and sternum. Inside, the heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 upper atria, and 2 lower ventricles. The atria receive blood returning to the heart, and the ventricles send it back out with renewed purpose. Each chamber is lined with smooth endocardial tissue, which reduces friction and supports unimpeded flow. Blood moves through the heart in a gentle, one-way path, guided by 4 main valves: the tricuspid valve between the right atrium and right ventricle, the pulmonary valve leading to the lungs, the mitral valve between the left atrium and left ventricle, and the aortic valve, which opens into the body's largest artery. These valves open and close in time with the heartbeat, producing the soft, familiar lub-dub sound. This is not noise, but language, the sound of life, continuing quietly and faithfully. The right side of the heart manages the pulmonary circulation. Here, deoxygenated blood returns from the body and is sent to the lungs. There, it releases carbon dioxide and absorbs oxygen, a peaceful exchange in the delicate capillaries of the lungs. This refreshed blood then flows into the left side of the heart, which oversees the systemic circulation, the vast journey through the body, nourishing every cell, tissue, and organ. It is the left ventricle that performs the most strenuous task, pumping oxygen-rich blood through the aorta and into the many arteries that branch and divide like roots across the landscape of the body. Its walls are thick and strong, yet it performs this work without complaint. Beneath all of this movement lies a rhythm, the cardiac cycle. It has 2 main phases: systole, when the heart contracts and blood is pushed outward, and diastole, when the heart relaxes and its chambers refill with blood. This rhythm is not rigid, but adaptable. It responds to need. It slows during rest and sleep. It quickens with motion or emotion. It adjusts without you ever asking. At the core of this rhythm is the sinoatrial node, often called the natural pacemaker of the heart. It is a tiny cluster of cells in the right atrium, yet it sends out electrical signals that keep the heartbeat steady. This impulse travels through the atria, pauses briefly at the atrioventricular node, then moves through the ventricles, ensuring that each part of the heart contracts at just the right time. The electrical activity of the heart can be measured on a graph known as an electrocardiogram, or ECG. Its pattern, the familiar wave of P, QRS, and T, maps the sequence of the heartbeat, a visual trace of your body's internal harmony. It is easy to forget the heart, to go through life without feeling its beat or hearing its rhythm. But in quiet moments, especially as you drift into sleep, you may begin to sense it, a soft thumping in your chest, a pulse beneath your wrist, a whisper in your ear. It is always there. In stillness, the heart continues. In motion, it rises to the task. In every moment, it sustains your life, not with urgency or strain, but with practiced ease. There is a comfort in knowing that your heart works for you, without being asked, without needing thanks. It simply beats, a quiet engine, a faithful rhythm, a song beneath your breath. As we move onward in this journey, we'll explore the paths that carry the blood, the arteries, the veins, the capillaries. But for now, let the heart's quiet work soothe your thoughts, knowing that its rhythm is both your beginning and your lullaby. Part 5. Arteries, Veins, and Capillaries. As your breath settles into its quiet rhythm and your body drifts into deeper rest, imagine now the many winding paths that stretch out from the heart, slender, branching, and far-reaching. These are the vessels of the circulatory system, the highways, the side roads, and the gentle footpaths through which blood travels. Their names are arteries, veins, and capillaries, and together they form a delicate, unbroken web that touches nearly every cell in your body. Let us begin with the arteries. Arteries are the strong, elastic vessels that carry blood away from the heart. They are designed to withstand the pressure of each heartbeat, the surge that occurs as the heart contracts and propels blood forward. Their walls are thick and muscular, layered with smooth tissue that expands slightly with each pulse, then recoils like a spring to maintain steady flow. The largest of these is the aorta, which rises like an arch from the heart's left ventricle. It curves upward, then bends and descends through the chest and abdomen, giving rise to smaller arteries that reach upward into the head, outward into the arms, and downward into the organs and legs. As arteries branch and narrow, they become arterioles, the smaller vessels that lead into the tissues. These arterioles are finely tuned. They can constrict or relax, adjusting blood flow to meet the needs of each area. When a muscle is working, the arterioles nearby open wider. When a region is at rest, they narrow slightly, conserving blood for where it is most needed. And then, at last, the blood enters the capillaries, the tiniest vessels of all. So narrow are these channels that red blood cells must pass through one at a time, like beads sliding along a thread. Here, in this delicate network, the most important exchanges take place. Capillaries are the meeting point between blood and tissue. Their walls are paper thin, just a single layer of cells, allowing gases, nutrients, and waste products to pass through with ease. Oxygen diffuses out of the blood and into the cells. Carbon dioxide, a byproduct of metabolism, moves in the opposite direction. Glucose, amino acids, and other vital nutrients are delivered. Waste is collected and prepared for removal. This exchange happens silently, constantly, unseen but essential. And though each capillary is tiny, the network they form is vast, stretching across every inch of your body in quiet service. Once the blood has completed its deliveries, it begins its return journey through the veins. Veins carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Unlike arteries, their walls are thinner and less elastic. The pressure within them is lower, and so they rely on a set of one-way valves, small flaps that open to allow blood through and close behind it to prevent backflow. In the legs and arms, where blood must travel upward against gravity, these valves are especially important. They work in tandem with surrounding muscles. When you walk or move, your muscles contract and gently squeeze the veins, pushing blood upward, a quiet assistance offered by motion itself. The venules, which receive blood from the capillaries, merge into larger and larger veins, forming two main vessels that return blood to the heart. The superior vena cava, which gathers blood from the upper body, and the inferior vena cava, which collects it from below, both empty into the right atrium, where the next cycle begins. Though often depicted as simple tubes, blood vessels are alive with activity. The inner lining of each vessel, called the endothelium, is not passive. It responds to signals from the nervous and endocrine systems, It helps regulate blood pressure, inflammation, and the movement of white blood cells during immune responses. In this way, vessels are not just highways, but intelligent pathways, attuned to the needs of the body. Each vessel, whether artery, vein, or capillary, plays its part in maintaining balance. Arteries deliver with strength, capillaries exchange with delicacy, veins return with patience. This cycle repeats endlessly, even as you sleep, flowing on without interruption. If you were to close your eyes now and picture your body from within, you might imagine these vessels like branches on a great tree wide at the trunk, narrowing into fine twigs, reaching outward in every direction, or like rivers, branching and rejoining, carrying life to distant shores. And even though you do not feel them moving, even though their work is silent, you can rest assured that they continue. Every beat of the heart sends another wave of motion. Every vessel responds. Every cell receives what it needs. In the next part, we'll explore the blood itself, what it is made of, how it moves, and how it nourishes the body. But for now, as you lie still, you might sense the soft hum of this internal current, gentle, persistent, and ever-present. Part 6. Blood composition and function. Imagine for a moment a quiet stream flowing through a shaded forest, smooth and continuous, winding around stones, nourishing everything it touches. Now picture something similar flowing within you, though far more intricate. Your blood. Though often thought of simply as a red fluid, blood is a living tissue, complex and ever active. It travels through every vessel, from the largest arteries to the finest capillaries, delivering, collecting, protecting, and regulating, all without interruption. Let us explore this quiet traveler, beginning with what it is made of. Blood is composed of two main parts: the plasma, which is the liquid component, and the formed elements, which include red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Each plays a distinct and essential role, their functions perfectly tuned to support life. The plasma makes up more than half of your total blood volume. It is a pale golden fluid, composed mostly of water, about 90%, but also rich in dissolved substances. These include proteins, hormones, nutrients like glucose and amino acids, electrolytes such as sodium and potassium, and waste products ready for removal. Plasma is not just a medium, it is an active participant. It carries the products of digestion from the intestines to the cells that need them. It delivers hormones released by glands to their distant targets. It transports antibodies, clotting factors, and even heat, helping regulate your internal temperature. Suspended within the plasma are the formed elements, each of which drifts and flows with purpose. The most numerous of these are the red blood cells, or erythrocytes. They are small, flexible, and shaped like tiny biconcave discs curved inward on both sides, which increases their surface area for the exchange of gases. Red blood cells lack a nucleus and other organelles, allowing more room for their primary cargo, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a remarkable protein. It binds to oxygen in the lungs, forming a temporary bond that allows red blood cells to transport oxygen to every cell in the body. Once there, the oxygen is released, and carbon dioxide, the waste gas produced by cellular metabolism, is picked up for the return trip to the lungs, where it is exhaled. Each red blood cell completes this journey over and over again, living about 120 days before being quietly removed and replaced by new cells formed in the bone marrow. In this way, the blood is constantly refreshed, its cargo always in motion. Next are the white blood cells, or leukocytes, the guardians of the body. Though far fewer in number than red blood cells, they are essential to your immune defense. They patrol the bloodstream and migrate into tissues, watching for signs of infection or injury. When needed, they respond swiftly, releasing chemical signals, engulfing invaders, or producing antibodies. There are several types of white blood cells, each with its own specialty. Neutrophils, for instance, are the first responders to bacterial threats. Lymphocytes, including T cells and B cells, coordinate long-term immunity. Monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils play their roles in inflammation, allergies, and the removal of damaged cells. Despite their complexity, these cells work quietly. They do not disrupt your daily life. Instead, they stand ready, often unseen, often unneeded, until the moment arises when their protection is required. Also present in the blood are the platelets, or thrombocytes, tiny cell fragments that play a critical role in clotting. When a blood vessel is injured, platelets rush to the site, sticking to the edges and to one another. They form a temporary plug and release signals that initiate the clotting cascade, a series of chemical reactions that solidify the seal and begin the healing process. This clotting process is carefully controlled. Too much, and flow would be disrupted. Too little, and injury would go unchecked. The balance is maintained with exquisite precision. In total, the blood performs many quiet tasks beyond its primary deliveries. It regulates temperature, distributing heat from active organs to cooler areas. It maintains pH balance, buffering acids and bases to keep the body's chemistry within its narrow optimal range. It transports waste, like urea and carbon dioxide, to the kidneys and lungs for removal. It supports communication, allowing endocrine signals to reach even the most distant tissues. And perhaps most quietly of all, it offers connection linking every organ and every cell, forming a single, unified system. As you rest now, the blood continues to flow through you, delivering oxygen to your brain, nourishing your muscles, keeping your organs in quiet equilibrium. It asks nothing in return. It moves without demand. It is a constant presence, devoted and unceasing. You do not need to feel it to believe it. Like the breeze in a sleeping forest, or the tide beneath a still sea, the blood flows steady, invisible, essential. Next, we will follow its journey through the body, the pathway it takes from heart to lungs and back again, through arteries and veins, in a loop that never truly ends. But for now, you may simply rest and let it carry you, gently, in its quiet current. Part 7. The Journey of Oxygen. Let your breath slow even further now, soft, effortless, natural. With each inhale, oxygen enters your body, invisible, weightless, and vital. With each exhale, a gentle release. This exchange is quiet, yet it is the rhythm of life itself. Oxygen's journey through the body is both elegant and essential. It begins in the air around you, drawn in through the nose or mouth, flowing down the trachea, branching into the bronchi, and finally arriving at the lungs. There, in the delicate architecture of the alveoli, tiny air sacs surrounded by capillaries, oxygen meets the bloodstream. The alveoli are soft and sponge-like, numbering in the millions. Their walls are incredibly thin, allowing gases to diffuse with ease. Oxygen passes across this barrier and binds to hemoglobin, the iron-rich protein within red blood cells. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry up to 4 oxygen atoms, like small, eager passengers boarding a silent train. This is where the real journey begins. Now attached to red blood cells, oxygen is carried away from the lungs through the pulmonary veins, entering the heart's left atrium, passing to the left ventricle, and being pumped forcefully into the aorta, the body's main artery. From here, oxygen-rich blood fans out into smaller arteries and arterioles, reaching every region of the body. As the vessels narrow into capillaries, oxygen begins to depart, The red blood cells squeeze through single file, brushing close to every cell. Here, in the gentle stillness of the capillary bed, oxygen is released. It diffuses across the capillary wall, slips into the spaces between cells, and enters those in need. Whether it is a muscle cell in the leg, a nerve cell in the brain, or a skin cell at the surface, oxygen finds its way unannounced, uncelebrated, but utterly necessary. Once inside the cell, oxygen is used in cellular respiration, the process by which food molecules, especially glucose, are converted into usable energy. This energy is stored in molecules called ATP, which power the cell's many tasks: building, repairing, signaling, dividing. The byproducts of this process, carbon dioxide and water, must now be carried away. And so, carbon dioxide makes its way back into the bloodstream, where most of it dissolves in plasma as bicarbonate, while some binds loosely to hemoglobin for the return trip. The now deoxygenated blood, darker in color, leaves the tissues through venules, then flows into larger veins. It moves steadily, drawn back toward the heart by the gentle pull of venous pressure, aided by valves and muscle contractions. Eventually, it arrives at the right atrium, then the right ventricle, and is pumped out through the pulmonary arteries to the lungs once again, where carbon dioxide is released and fresh oxygen enters, beginning the cycle anew. This entire loop from lungs to body and back is completed in less than a minute, and it repeats continuously, adjusting to your needs. When you run, more oxygen is required. Your heart beats faster, your breathing quickens, capillaries open wider in your muscles. When you sleep, as you are now, the pace slows, the demand is lower. Blood flow adjusts accordingly, a quiet conservation of energy, a calm support for rest. Even in sleep, your cells continue their quiet work. They take in oxygen, they generate warmth, they repair, restore, and renew, and the circulatory system ensures they are never without what they need. There is a kind of poetry in this, that with every breath, 1,000 tiny exchanges occur, that with every heartbeat, the entire body is nourished, that without you asking, your body carries out this beautiful choreography, hour after hour. The oxygen you breathe now may find its way to a memory-forming neuron, a healing wound, or a resting muscle. It is shared among all the living parts of you, distributed with balance and care. So as you rest deeper into stillness, let the thought of oxygen comfort you. It is a gift you give yourself with each breath, a presence that supports you without noise or weight. In the next section, we will follow this cycle more fully, tracing the two great loops of the circulatory system, one to the lungs, one to the body, always returning, always flowing. But for now, you may simply breathe and know that each breath carries life. Part 8. Circulatory loops, systemic and pulmonary. Picture, for a moment, two rivers flowing in harmony, each looping and bending, meeting at a central point, then flowing outward again. Within your body, a similar pattern unfolds. Two great circulatory loops, one reaching outward to nourish the entire body, and the other looping gently through the lungs, work in unison, forming the foundation of your internal flow. These loops are known as the systemic and pulmonary circulations. Together, they ensure that every cell receives oxygen, every waste product is removed, and that balance is maintained without pause. Let us begin with the pulmonary loop, the more delicate of the two, devoted solely to the lungs. Its task is simple yet essential: to carry deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs, allow for the exchange of gases, and then return oxygen, rich blood, back to the heart. The journey begins in the right ventricle of the heart. With a gentle contraction, this chamber pushes blood into the pulmonary arteries, which branch off toward the left and right lungs. These are the only arteries in the body that carry deoxygenated blood, a quiet exception to the general rule. As the blood reaches the lungs, it enters a fine network of capillaries that envelops each alveolus, the tiny balloon-like air sacs where gas exchange occurs. Here, oxygen diffuses into the blood, while carbon dioxide moves out, to be released with your next exhale. The freshly oxygenated blood now begins its return journey through the pulmonary veins again, a gentle reversal of expectations. As these veins carry oxygen-rich blood, they merge into two pairs, entering the left atrium of the heart. This marks the completion of the pulmonary loop. From here, the systemic loop begins broader in reach, larger in scale, and responsible for delivering this oxygenated blood to the entire body. The left atrium contracts, passing the blood into the left ventricle, the heart's strongest chamber. With a powerful beat, this ventricle sends blood surging into the aorta, the body's largest artery. The aorta arches upward, then descends, giving rise to arteries that lead to every region: the brain, the arms, the organs of the chest and abdomen, the legs. As arteries branch into arterioles and finally into capillaries, the blood slows. It is here, in these narrowest vessels, that oxygen is released to the tissues and nutrients are exchanged. Cells take what they need. In return, carbon dioxide and metabolic waste are absorbed. Once this exchange is complete, the now deoxygenated blood flows into venules, which join into larger veins. These carry the blood steadily back toward the heart, aided by one-way valves and the gentle squeeze of surrounding muscles. All of this returning blood is gathered into two large veins: the superior vena cava, which drains the upper body, and the inferior vena cava, which drains the lower body. Both empty into the right atrium of the heart. And thus, the systemic loop concludes, but not as an end, only a return to the beginning. The two loops, pulmonary and systemic, are perfectly timed. While the right side of the heart sends blood to the lungs, the left side delivers it to the body. Each heartbeat propels both cycles forward, like a duet performed with quiet precision. This continuous rhythm, inhale and exhale, deliver and return, is the foundation of your internal balance. It adjusts without conscious thought. It speeds up when you run. It slows when you sleep. It adapts to every need without ever disrupting your peace. Even now, as your body grows heavier with rest, these loops continue. Blood flows to the brain, to the skin, to the organs. Waste is carried away. Oxygen is delivered. And you in your stillness are sustained. You may never feel the loops directly. There is no loud movement, no churning force. Only the soft pulse of your heart, the quiet breath in your lungs, and the knowledge that something wise and ordered is flowing within you. In the next part, we will listen more closely to this rhythm, exploring the phases of the cardiac cycle and how the heartbeat orchestrates this endless flow. But for now, simply rest in the knowledge that the loops continue, without asking, without effort, always returning, always beginning again. Part 9. Heartbeat and cardiac cycle. Close your eyes, if you haven't already. Listen inward. Beneath your breath, beneath your thoughts, there is a steady rhythm, soft, persistent, familiar. It is your heartbeat. This gentle rhythm is more than sound. It is movement. It is coordination. It is the quiet engine of life, pulsing without pause. Each beat is part of a repeating pattern known as the cardiac cycle, a sequence of events that allows your heart to fill, contract, and refill again, over and over, without effort. Let us now follow this cycle, one heartbeat at a time. The heart's activity is divided into two broad phases, systole and diastole. Systole is the phase of contraction. During systole, the ventricles, the lower chambers of the heart, tighten and push blood outward. The right ventricle sends blood to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. The left ventricle, more muscular and powerful, sends oxygen-rich blood through the aorta and into the body. This contraction is swift and strong, but not harsh. It is precise. The valves between the chambers close with soft certainty, ensuring blood flows in only one direction forward. This closure creates the first sound of the heartbeat, lub. Following this, the heart moves into diastole, the phase of relaxation. During diastole, the ventricles soften and open like hollow chambers. Blood flows into them once again from the atria above, which have been quietly filling while the ventricles worked. As the ventricles relax, the valves leading out of the heart, the aortic and pulmonary valves close gently, preventing backflow. This closing produces the second sound, dub. And thus, lub-dub, the cycle continues: contraction and release, push and pull, systole and diastole. Each phase flows naturally into the next, like waves rising and falling on a calm shore. The entire process is governed by the heart's electrical conduction system, a quiet network of cells that sends impulses across the heart in a carefully timed pattern. It begins in the sinoatrial node, or SA node, located in the upper right atrium, often called the natural pacemaker. The SA node sends out a signal that causes the atria to contract. This pushes blood into the ventricles. The signal then travels to the atrioventricular node, or AV node, where it pauses briefly, a quiet moment that allows the ventricles time to fill completely. Then the impulse moves swiftly through the bundle of His, down the bundle branches, and through the Purkinje fibers, which spread across the ventricles, triggering their coordinated contraction. This electrical pathway ensures that every heartbeat is organized and effective. It keeps the atria and ventricles in perfect timing, never overlapping, never colliding. Your heart is not just a pump. It is a conductor, a timekeeper, a servant of balance. It adjusts its rhythm according to your needs. At rest, it may beat slowly, perhaps 60 times per minute. In motion, it quickens. In sleep, it slows again, conserving energy, preserving stillness. Even the pressure of blood in your vessels, known as blood pressure, follows this cycle. During systole, the pressure rises. During diastole, it falls. Doctors measure this as two numbers. For example, 120/80, indicating the force of blood during contraction and at rest. Your body senses these changes through baroreceptors, tiny sensors in the arteries that monitor pressure. If it rises too high, the heart slows. If it falls too low, the vessels constrict. All of this is automatic, quiet, protective. You may never notice this rhythm unless you pause as you are now and listen. You might feel it as a soft tapping in your chest or a subtle pulse at your wrist. But whether noticed or not, it is always there, a faithful rhythm beneath everything else. This rhythm begins before birth. In the womb, the heart begins to beat long before the brain is formed, and it continues, day after day, for decades, adapting, adjusting, never tiring. As you lie still now, your heart beats for you. It responds to rest. It softens its rhythm. It slows its pace. It allows your body to restore itself, and it does so without asking for attention. In our next section, we will explore how this same system maintains pressure and balance throughout the body, not just with rhythm, but with careful regulation. But for now, let your heart be quiet. Let your breath be slow. You are safe. You are resting. And your heartbeat continues soft, steady, and always there. Part 10. Blood pressure and regulation. Let your body continue to settle deeper now, quieter, as if floating on a calm current. Inside you, the river of life flows on, not only with rhythm, but with pressure, a gentle force that guides the blood forward, from chamber to vessel, from vessel to cell. This force is known as blood pressure. In simple terms, blood pressure is the force exerted by circulating blood against the walls of your arteries. It is strongest just after the heart contracts, and softest as the heart relaxes. But this force is not rigid, it flows and flexes. It is carefully regulated to support life without disturbance. Each time the heart beats, it creates a small surge of pressure as blood is pushed into the arteries. This is called systolic pressure, the peak, the upward wave. Between beats, the heart rests and the pressure falls. This is diastolic pressure, the low point, the quiet valley. When measured, these two numbers, systolic over diastolic, describe the body's balance. For most adults, a resting blood pressure of around 120 over 80 is considered gentle and healthy. But blood pressure is not fixed. It changes throughout the day. It rises during activity. It lowers during sleep. It shifts in response to posture, temperature, emotion, and even thought. How does the body manage this flow? The answer lies in a remarkable system of feedback and adjustment, a series of sensors and signals, always watching, always fine-tuning. Scattered throughout the large arteries, especially near the heart and neck, are tiny sensors called baroreceptors. These are the guardians of pressure. When the pressure rises, baroreceptors send signals to the brain, which responds by softening the heart's force and relaxing the vessels. When pressure falls, the opposite happens, the heart beats more quickly, and vessels constrict to raise the pressure once more. This constant communication between vessels, brain, and heart ensures that blood flow remains steady, not too fast, not too slow, and that oxygen and nutrients reach every part of you without delay or excess. The nervous system plays a guiding role in this process. Through the autonomic nervous system, which governs functions beyond conscious control, two branches help balance the pressure. The sympathetic nervous system responds to stress or exertion. It raises blood pressure by increasing heart rate and narrowing the arteries, preparing the body for movement or alertness. The parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, does the opposite. It slows the heart, widens the vessels, and lowers pressure, allowing for rest, healing, and quiet. This dual system allows you to adapt fluidly to every moment, to stand, to lie down, to run, to sleep, all without needing to think about it. Your body adjusts the pressure for you, as gently as a hand guiding a sail. Other players contribute as well. The kidneys, for example, help regulate blood pressure by controlling the volume of blood, adjusting how much water and salt are retained or released. The endocrine system releases hormones like aldosterone, adrenaline, and vasopressin, which fine-tune the tone and tension of the vessels. It is a system built on subtlety, a system that prioritizes balance. When everything works in harmony, blood flows smoothly to the brain, ensuring thought, to the muscles, enabling motion, to the skin, dispersing heat, to the organs, preserving function, and even to the deepest tissues where oxygen is exchanged in peaceful silence. Even now, as you lie in stillness, your blood pressure gently lowers, the heart slows, the vessels relax, the entire system softens into rest. And yet, it does not stop. The baroreceptors remain alert. The brain continues its quiet monitoring. The kidneys filter. The vessels pulse. All of it unfolds without asking for attention. A background melody, composed for your well-being. In this way, the circulatory system not only delivers, it listens, adjusts, and preserves. It is not simply a means of movement, but a guardian of peace. In the next section, we will see how this peaceful river also serves another role, that of a silent regulator of temperature, helping the body stay warm or cool through the flow of blood alone. But for now, let yourself rest in the knowledge that pressure is balanced, flow is steady, and all is well. Part 11. The role of the circulatory system in thermoregulation. Now, as your breathing becomes even softer and your body settles deeper into the calm of rest. Imagine a hidden warmth moving within you, a steady, gentle presence not from the air, not from the outside world, but from within. This warmth is carried not by fire or friction, but by the blood itself. Among its many quiet roles, the circulatory system serves as a subtle and constant thermoregulator, helping your body maintain a safe, stable temperature no matter the environment around you. This balance is not left to chance. It is actively maintained through a process known as homeostasis, the body's way of keeping internal conditions just right, even as the world changes. And when it comes to temperature, the circulatory system is one of the body's most graceful tools. To understand how, picture the blood vessels just beneath your skin. When the body becomes warm from physical activity, a warm room, or even a blanket drawn close, the vessels near the surface begin to dilate or widen. This process is called vasodilation. As the vessels open, more blood flows closer to the skin. Heat is gently released into the surrounding air, cooling the body from within. You may not feel this exchange, but it is happening constantly. Even now, blood is flowing through your hands and face, releasing the softest hints of warmth, helping you maintain a perfect inner balance. When the body cools, perhaps from a breeze across your skin or a dip in nighttime temperature, the vessels respond differently. They constrict or narrow. This is vasoconstriction. By reducing the flow of blood near the surface, the body conserves its core warmth, protecting the vital organs within. In this way, your own circulatory system adjusts the routes of flow, widening here, narrowing there, like a quiet conductor directing an unseen symphony. At the very center of this regulation lies the hypothalamus, a small but vital structure in the brain, always sensing, always responding. It receives signals from thermoreceptors in the skin and deep within the body, and sends messages back to the heart and vessels, orchestrating minute adjustments in flow and tone. Sometimes this thermal balance leads to familiar experiences. When too warm, you might sweat a cooling mechanism that works hand in hand with increased blood flow to the skin. When too cold, you might shiver tiny muscle movements that generate heat, supported by the preserved warmth kept close to the core by constricted vessels. And throughout all of it, the blood is quietly at work, transporting heat as though it were just another vital resource, distributing it wherever it is needed. In truth, blood is a thermal messenger. It gathers heat produced in the muscles, where energy is burned. It carries that heat to the skin, to the lungs, even to the fingertips. It does so constantly and without cessation, adjusting to changes in posture, activity, or weather. Consider this. Your core body temperature, the warmth at the center of your being, varies by only a few tenths of a degree from moment to moment. This stability is essential for enzymes, for metabolism, for all the delicate processes of life. And the circulatory system is central in maintaining that narrow range. Even now, as you drift into rest, this system continues its balancing act. Your muscles may grow still, your breath soft and deep, but the blood continues to flow, warming your center, cooling your surface, adapting quietly to the stillness of sleep. And there is no strain in this work. It is automatic. It is ancient. It is built into the very design of life. In the next part, we'll explore a sister system to the circulatory, the lymphatic system, which flows alongside, performing its own quiet duties in support of health and balance. But for now, let the warmth within you be a comfort. Let your skin cool gently as needed. Let your heart continue to guide the flow, and let the knowledge of this internal harmony guide you gently deeper into calm. Part 12. The lymphatic system, a silent companion. Beneath the surface of the skin, along paths quiet and narrow, there exists a second network flowing alongside the blood vessels, yet separate in its journey. It is not as fast, nor as forceful, but it is essential. This is the lymphatic system, the circulatory system's silent companion. The lymphatic system is not often noticed, and yet it plays a vital role in maintaining the body's health and harmony. Its work is subtle, its pace slow, its channels delicate, but without it, the balance of fluid, immunity, and nourishment would quietly falter. Let us begin with the fluid it carries: lymph. Lymph is a clear, pale liquid. It originates not from outside the body, but from within, from the spaces between your cells. As blood flows through capillaries, some of its plasma seeps out into the surrounding tissues, bathing the cells in nutrients and oxygen. This fluid, now called interstitial fluid, must be returned to the bloodstream to maintain balance. The lymphatic system gathers this fluid. Tiny, thread-like vessels known as lymphatic capillaries collect the interstitial fluid, now renamed lymph. These capillaries are remarkably gentle, with walls so thin and permeable that fluid, proteins, and even large particles can slip inside. Once inside, the fluid begins its slow journey back toward the heart. Unlike the blood vessels, which form a closed loop, the lymphatic vessels are more like small tributaries, feeding into larger streams. They have one-way valves that prevent backflow, and the lymph is moved not by a pump like the heart, but by the gentle squeezing of nearby muscles, the pulsing of arteries, and the pressure of your own breath. As the lymph flows, it passes through lymph nodes, small, bean-shaped structures scattered throughout the body. There are hundreds of these, often found in the neck, underarms, groin, and along the spine. Lymph nodes act as filters. Within them, white blood cells stand watch, quietly scanning the lymph for signs of infection, damaged cells, or foreign particles. If a threat is detected, the immune system is gently activated. The lymph nodes may swell, slowly and painlessly, as more white blood cells gather to respond. This process is not rushed, it is quiet, it is precise, and it occurs all the time, whether you are aware of it or not. In addition to fluid balance and immune defense, the lymphatic system also plays a role in absorbing fats and fat-soluble nutrients from the digestive tract. Specialized vessels called lacteals, located in the lining of the small intestine, take in dietary fats and carry them into the lymphatic system before they eventually join the bloodstream. In this way, the lymphatic system participates in nourishment as well, supporting the body not just by defending it, but by feeding it. Eventually, all lymph is returned to the blood. It flows into larger lymphatic vessels, which merge and empty into the subclavian veins near the base of the neck, where it re-enters the circulatory system. The loop is closed, the balance is restored. And so, this companion system, often overlooked, always gentle, ensures that fluid does not collect where it should not, that nutrients are absorbed, that invaders are quietly intercepted, and that harmony is preserved. The lymphatic system is also home to other quiet organs: the spleen, which filters blood and supports immune function; the thymus, where certain white blood cells mature during childhood; and the tonsils, which help guard the entryways of the body. Each of these plays a role not through action that is loud or visible, but through presence, watchful, steady, protective. Even now, as your body rests, the lymph continues to flow. Slowly, silently, it carries away what is no longer needed. It supports the immune system, filters the fluids of your tissues, and returns balance drop by drop. You will not feel it. You are not meant to. Its work is invisible, and that is part of its grace. In the next part, we will return to the bloodstream and follow how it carries not just oxygen and nutrients, but chemical messages, hormones, which help coordinate the body's many systems in peace and precision. But for now, you can rest in the knowledge that even in your deepest stillness, a quiet river flows through you, not just to nourish, but to cleanse and protect. It asks nothing. It moves slowly. it simply serves. Part 13. Hormonal Signaling and the Bloodstream. Let us now imagine the bloodstream not only as a delivery system for oxygen and nutrients, but also as a soft-spoken courier of messages, a silent communicator passing instructions from one part of the body to another, guiding each system in harmony. This form of communication is known as hormonal signaling, and the bloodstream is its quiet pathway. Hormones are chemical messengers. They are produced by endocrine glands, small but powerful structures such as the thyroid, adrenal glands, pancreas, pituitary gland, and others. Once released into the blood, these molecules drift gently through the vessels, seeking the cells and tissues they are meant to guide. Each hormone travels with intent, and though it may pass every organ and every tissue along the way, it will only act where it is meant to, where the correct receptors are waiting, like locks designed for a single key. Let us begin with a simple example. Insulin. Produced by the pancreas, insulin enters the bloodstream after you eat. It flows quietly through the vessels, reaching muscles, the liver, and fat cells. There, it gently signals these tissues to absorb glucose from the blood, storing energy for later use, ensuring that levels remain steady. This entire process is invisible, effortless, and unfolding even as you rest. Another messenger, adrenaline, or epinephrine, is produced by the adrenal glands in response to excitement, stress, or sudden need. It flows rapidly through the bloodstream, signaling the heart to beat faster, the lungs to open wider, and the muscles to prepare. But in moments of stillness, like now, it retreats, leaving behind a return to calm. Other hormones work more slowly. The thyroid gland, located at the base of the neck, releases thyroxine, a hormone that controls the body's metabolic pace. It does not surge, but flows gently, adjusting how quickly cells use energy, how warm the body feels, how alert the brain becomes. Still others influence growth, repair, mood, and sleep. Melatonin, secreted by the pineal gland, rises as night falls. It moves through the bloodstream like a soft veil, signaling the brain and body that it is time to slow down, to rest, to sleep. It does not push, it whispers. It is part of what draws you into peaceful rhythms like the one you are in now. Then there is oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, released during moments of closeness and connection. It moves through the blood to affect the brain, the heart, and the body's gentle systems of trust and calm. Each of these molecules is tiny, yet their influence is immense. They do not act alone, and they do not act in haste. Instead, they form part of a vast, interconnected network of chemical communication, one that reaches from the brain to the skin, from the kidneys to the lungs, from gland to cell. The blood, then, is more than a transporter of material. It is a river of information, carrying signals that shape how you feel, how you rest, how you grow, and how you heal. And this communication is not chaotic. It is ordered. It is responsive. The body adjusts the production of each hormone according to need, and the bloodstream delivers them in just the right measure, at just the right time. All of this continues as you sleep. Even now, melatonin may be gently rising. Growth hormone may begin its night work, supporting the repair of tissues. The adrenal glands rest. The pancreas listens. The bloodstream carries their messages quietly, flowing in the stillness. This internal dialogue is ancient, refined over millions of years of life. It requires no conscious control. It asks for nothing from you. It happens in silence, preserving balance, fostering peace. In the next part, we will follow another of the bloodstream's gentle roles, how it nourishes your body with nutrients drawn from the food you eat, carrying them to each cell like parcels of energy and structure. But for now, let your mind drift in the knowledge that your body is always communicating with itself softly, wisely, without noise. The bloodstream listens, carries, and delivers. And even in sleep, your body continues to guide itself toward balance. Part 14. Nutrient transport and cellular delivery. As you continue to drift gently toward deeper rest, imagine your body as a vast and fertile landscape, one where every cell is a quiet cottage, each in need of sustenance. The bloodstream, in this vision, becomes a soft-moving caravan, delivering parcels of nourishment door by door, without haste, without interruption. This is the role of the circulatory system in nutrient transport. Each time you eat, the food you consume is gently broken down in the digestive tract. Large, complex molecules, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are transformed into smaller units. Glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. These smaller components are absorbed, primarily in the small intestine, and enter the bloodstream through tiny capillaries that line the intestinal wall. Here, the blood becomes a carrier of abundance. Glucose, the simplest form of sugar, is one of the primary fuels of the body. It is absorbed into the bloodstream and carried to every tissue. Muscles take it in for energy. The brain uses it to power thought and awareness. Any excess is stored in the liver and muscles as glycogen, or converted into fat for later use, a quiet savings account of energy. Amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, also enter the blood from the digestive tract. They travel to the liver, where they are sorted, processed, and sent on their way to build and repair tissues, from enzymes in your cells to structural proteins in your skin and muscles. Fatty acids and glycerol, the products of fat digestion, take a slightly different route. Many of them first enter the lymphatic system via small vessels called lacteals, then join the bloodstream at the subclavian vein. From there, they are delivered to tissues that can use them for energy or store them as insulation and reserve fuel. The bloodstream also carries vitamins and minerals, those small but essential molecules that support every aspect of life. Iron, for example, binds to hemoglobin, helping to carry oxygen. Calcium strengthens bones and supports muscle contractions. B. Vitamins support energy metabolism, while vitamin C helps with collagen formation and immune health. All of these nutrients, once in the bloodstream, move smoothly through arteries, arterioles, and finally into the capillaries, where they pass into the interstitial fluid, that thin layer surrounding each cell. Each cell, guided by its own inner chemistry, absorbs only what it needs. The rest is carried onward, perhaps to the next cell, the next tissue, or back to the liver and kidneys for processing or storage. This quiet distribution never stops. Even now, as you rest, your body is absorbing nutrients from your last meal. Cells are taking in glucose to create energy. Amino acids are repairing tissue. Fatty acids are fueling cells that prefer fat to sugar. Vitamins are enabling the enzymes that keep your metabolism humming softly beneath the surface. And the bloodstream ensures that no cell is forgotten. Even the cells of your skin, your bones, your eyes, all are nourished through this system. All are part of the web of life that depends on circulation. This process is not only efficient, it is wise. When more nutrients are needed during growth, during healing, during effort, the blood adjusts its flow. Capillaries open wider, absorption increases, delivery quickens. And when rest comes, as it does now, the system slows. It becomes more selective, more focused. Blood is redirected to the core, where it supports digestion, repair, and renewal. The outer limbs grow cool. The inner organs are quietly busy. The liver plays a central role in this silent dance. It filters and stores nutrients, regulates their levels in the blood, and detoxifies substances that might otherwise cause harm. It is a vigilant gatekeeper, working in harmony with the circulatory system to maintain balance. In this moment, as you lie still, your cells are receiving what they need. Quiet deliveries are being made. Molecules are passing into membranes. Energy is being formed, and life continues. There is nothing you need to do. It is already happening. In our next section, we'll follow what becomes of the other side of this process, how the blood removes waste, supporting the body's gentle detoxification and elimination systems. But for now, let yourself sink deeper, knowing that you are nourished from within. Your cells are fed, your tissues are cared for, and the bloodstream continues its ancient route, always delivering, always supporting. Part 15. Waste removal and detoxification. As you lie in stillness, with the hush of night wrapped around you, know that within your body, a quiet cleansing is underway. Just as the blood delivers life-giving nutrients, so too does it carry away what is no longer needed, the gentle gathering of waste, the release of burden, the preservation of internal peace. This is the circulatory system's role in waste removal and detoxification. Every cell in your body, as it carries out its daily tasks, produces byproducts, substances that must be removed to prevent buildup. These include carbon dioxide, the gas produced during energy use, urea, formed from the breakdown of amino acids, and countless other small molecules, fragments, and residues. The bloodstream becomes the body's soft sweeper, collecting these remnants with the same grace it uses to deliver nutrients, carrying them to the organs best equipped to release them. Let us begin with carbon dioxide. As your cells convert oxygen and glucose into energy, they release carbon dioxide. This gas diffuses into nearby capillaries and dissolves into the plasma. Some of it binds loosely to hemoglobin in red blood cells. Most is transformed into bicarbonate, a form that is easy to transport through the liquid of the blood. Carried back through veins to the lungs, carbon dioxide is gently exchanged once again. In the alveoli, the air sacs of the lungs, it diffuses out of the blood and into the air, where it is exhaled with your breath. A silent release, a letting go. Each exhale you take now may carry with it the soft traces of this exchange, the final step in an invisible cycle of renewal. Other waste products are not exhaled, but processed more slowly, with equal care. The liver, nestled quietly beneath the diaphragm, is one of the body's great detoxifiers. Blood from the digestive tract passes through the liver, where specialized cells inspect and process its contents. Excess hormones, toxins, and metabolic waste are transformed, sometimes neutralized, sometimes prepared for excretion. Urea, formed from the breakdown of nitrogen-containing compounds, is one such product. The liver produces it, and the blood carries it to the kidneys, a pair of bean-shaped organs that filter the blood with extraordinary precision. Within the kidneys, networks of tiny structures called nephrons remove urea, salts, and excess water, forming urine. This fluid travels quietly down the ureters to the bladder, where it is stored until release. No effort is needed. The blood flows, the kidneys filter, the balance is kept. Other waste products such as creatinine from muscle use, bilirubin from the recycling of old red blood cells, or foreign chemicals from the environment are also removed through the kidneys, or passed into bile by the liver, and released through the intestines. And all of this happens without noise, without sensation, a silent cleaning, a nightly restoration. Even your skin plays a small part. As blood flows near the surface, trace amounts of waste can be released through sweat, especially during activity or heat. This too is part of the system's soft design. Through it all, the plasma of the blood acts as a ferry, carrying waste gently to its destination, never allowing harmful substances to accumulate, never losing its quiet rhythm. This continuous removal of waste is essential for life. It prevents imbalance, it protects the brain, it allows cells to function without interruption, and it unfolds even as you sleep. Right now, your liver is filtering, your kidneys are purifying, your lungs are exchanging, Your blood is flowing, restoring internal clarity in every moment. In the next section, we will journey briefly into a time before birth, exploring the unique features of the fetal circulatory system, a design suited to the protected world of the womb. But for now, rest in the knowledge that you are being cared for from within, that your body is clearing away what no longer serves you, that in the stillness of sleep, the work of release and renewal continues quietly, wisely, without end. Part 16. The fetal circulatory system. Before we are born, before the first breath, before the first cry, the heart is already beating. In the quiet world of the womb, life begins with a rhythm, soft and steady. Yet in this protected space, the circulatory system takes on a different form, one adapted to a place without air, without independent nourishment, without the demands of the outside world. This is the fetal circulatory system, a temporary, elegant arrangement that sustains the growing body before birth. Though it resembles the adult system, it includes unique features that gently guide blood through a different pathway, one perfectly suited to early life. In the womb, the fetus does not breathe air. The lungs, though present and developing, are filled with fluid and are not yet functional. Instead of oxygenating blood through breathing, the fetus receives oxygen and nutrients from the placenta, a remarkable organ formed during pregnancy that connects the mother and child. The placenta serves as both lung and intestine, kidney and liver. It allows for the exchange of gases, nutrients, and waste between mother and fetus, not by direct blood contact, but through a shared interface of capillaries, where diffusion takes place silently and safely. From the placenta, richly oxygenated blood travels through the umbilical vein, entering the fetus through the umbilical cord. This blood flows toward the liver, but rather than passing through it entirely, most of it is gently rerouted through a special vessel called the ductus venosus, allowing it to bypass the liver and flow directly into the inferior vena cava, a major vein leading to the heart. This blood enters the right atrium, as it would in an adult heart, but because the lungs are not yet in use, the blood does not need to follow the usual path through pulmonary circulation. Instead, it takes a detour, a quiet shortcut through a small opening called the foramen ovale, which allows blood to pass directly from the right atrium to the left atrium. From there, it flows into the left ventricle and is pumped out through the aorta to nourish the brain and upper body areas of highest demand in the developing fetus. Some blood still enters the right ventricle, as in the adult heart, but since the lungs are not yet open, this blood is not directed to them. Instead, it is shunted away from the pulmonary artery through another temporary vessel called the ductus arteriosus, which guides it back into the aorta, bypassing the lungs. These detours, the foramen ovale, the ductus venosus, and the ductus arteriosus, are the hallmark features of the fetal circulatory system. They exist only during this early stage of life and serve to redirect blood flow away from undeveloped organs and toward areas of immediate growth. It is a perfect design for its purpose, flexible, protective, and deeply efficient. As birth approaches, the circulatory system prepares for change. The lungs begin to produce fluid and surfactant, preparing to inflate. The heart begins to respond to increased demands. The vessels adapt, ever so slightly. Then, with the first breath often drawn within moments of birth, the transformation begins. Air fills the lungs, pressure shifts. The foramen ovale closes, becoming a thin scar called the fossa ovalis. The ductus arteriosus contracts and becomes a ligament. The ductus venosus closes as the liver takes on its full function. The umbilical vessels collapse and are no longer needed. The temporary pathways dissolve, and the body's adult circulatory pattern takes shape, now driven by air by lungs, by a heart working with new direction. This transition is among the most profound changes the body ever makes from life supported by another to life sustained independently. And it happens in minutes, often without difficulty, always with beauty. Even now, within you, the soft remnants of this early architecture remain the fossa ovalis in your heart, the ligaments that once were vessels, quiet echoes of your first rhythms. In our next part, we will return to the adult circulatory system and explore a few gentle concepts, common variations and disorders that affect circulation, presented not with alarm, but with understanding and calm. But for now, rest in the knowledge that from your very beginning, your body has known how to flow, how to adapt, how to sustain life with grace. Even before breath, before thought, there was rhythm. And it is with you still. Part 17, Disorders of the Circulatory System. Soft focus. As we move softly through this journey of understanding, we arrive at a place where gentle awareness is needed, a look at what happens when the flow of the circulatory system is altered or slowed, when its quiet patterns become irregular or strained. Even in this, we speak not with urgency, but with calm, for the body, though complex, is resilient. It adjusts, it compensates, it seeks balance in every moment. Most variations in circulation arise gradually, influenced by time, by genetics, by lifestyle, or by the subtle wear that comes with age. These changes are not always dramatic. Often, they begin with the smallest shifts: a vessel narrowing, a valve stiffening, a pressure gently rising. Let us begin softly with hypertension, or high blood pressure. This condition occurs when the force of the blood against the walls of the arteries remains elevated over time. It is often called the silent condition because it may have no symptoms, and yet, over years, it can gently burden the heart and strain the vessels. The causes of hypertension are many, sometimes inherited, sometimes shaped by habits or tension, sometimes arising without clear reason. But even here, the body does not rebel. It adapts. It protects where it can, and with care and attention, the pressure can be guided back toward a gentler level. Another common experience is atherosclerosis, the gradual buildup of plaques within the arteries. These plaques form when fats, cholesterol, and other substances accumulate along the arterial walls. Over time, the vessels may narrow, and the flow of blood may be reduced, particularly to the heart, the brain, or the limbs. Yet even this process unfolds slowly. Often, the body compensates by creating new vessels, small side paths called collateral circulation that help preserve blood flow in times of need. It is a quiet resilience built into the design of the system itself. Sometimes the heart's own rhythm can shift. This is known as arrhythmia, a change in the timing of the heartbeat. Arrhythmias may be harmless, a single extra beat, a brief flutter, or they may become more sustained. The heart may beat too quickly, tachycardia, too slowly, bradycardia, or irregularly. And still, in many cases, the body adjusts. The heart finds its pace again, especially during sleep, when it is most at ease. The valves of the heart, too, can change over time. They may grow stiff or leaky, a condition known as valvular heart disease. This may result in murmurs, soft sounds heard through a stethoscope, caused by blood moving through a narrowed or imperfect valve. Most murmurs are gentle and benign. They are simply the sound of adaptation. Then there is anemia, a condition in which the blood carries less oxygen than usual, often due to a reduction in red blood cells or hemoglobin. This may cause fatigue or coolness, but it is often mild, and the body works patiently to adjust, drawing more oxygen from each breath, increasing flow to areas in need. Another gentle concept is deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, a clot forming in the deep veins, usually of the leg. While it can lead to complications if the clot travels, it often remains unnoticed and resolves with rest, hydration, and soft movement. In all of these conditions and in many others, the body does not panic. It responds, it adapts, it recruits new pathways, shifts blood flow, or signals for rest. Modern understanding allows these changes to be observed, managed, and eased through simple actions, thoughtful care, and when needed, medical guidance. But always, the goal is the same: to preserve the quiet balance of circulation. And even when the system is altered, the fundamental truth remains. The blood still flows, the heart still beats, the vessels still serve, the system still listens. In our next part, we'll gently explore how this system adapts to daily rhythms, how the heartbeat and flow respond to the cycles of wakefulness and rest, activity and calm, light and darkness. But for now, let your own circulatory system be a source of comfort, not for its perfection, but for its persistence. It has adjusted to every day you've lived. It will carry you through many more. Part 18. Daily Rhythms of the Heart. There is a rhythm within you, older than memory, older even than thought. It rises and falls with the turning of the earth, with the deepening of breath, with the hush of night and the stir of morning. This rhythm is the quiet beat of your heart, gently shifting with the cycles of the day. The heart is not static. Though steady, it is responsive. It listens to the needs of the body, adapting to your movements, your thoughts, your sleep. In this way, it participates in what scientists call circadian rhythm, the natural 24-hour cycle that guides so much of life. In the light of day, when the body awakens, the heartbeat gently increases. The sympathetic nervous system becomes more active, preparing you for motion, thought, and attention. Blood pressure rises slightly. The vessels adjust their tone. The heart beats just a little faster to meet the day's demands. As the hours pass, your heart continues this quiet responsiveness. When you walk, when you speak, when you feel your heart listens, it sends blood to the muscles when they move. It sends oxygen to the brain when you concentrate. It quickens if you're startled, then slows again as calm returns. In the afternoon, the pace remains steady, not as fast as morning, not as slow as night. Your circulatory system hums in balance, guided by need, but never loud, never demanding. And then comes the evening. As the sun sets and your body begins to wind down, the parasympathetic nervous system takes gentle command. This system is responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. It softens the heart's rhythm, lowers blood pressure, and prepares the body for sleep. Even your core temperature drops slightly, a signal to the body that rest is near. The blood withdraws slightly from the surface, gathering inward, supporting the organs and systems that restore and renew. During sleep, the heart is at its most peaceful. The heart rate slows. In healthy adults, it may drop to 40 or 50 beats per minute. The force of each contraction becomes more efficient, more deliberate. Blood pressure decreases. The vessels relax. Yet even in this stillness, the heart never stops adjusting. In lighter stages of sleep, small changes occur. A dream may quicken the pulse for a moment. A shift in position may alter the return of blood from the limbs, but the overall rhythm remains gentle and calm. In deep sleep, known as slow-wave sleep, the body enters its most restorative state. Blood flow increases to the muscles. Growth hormone is released. The immune system is quietly reinforced. The heart, though slower, remains attentive, providing exactly what is needed for healing and rest. As morning nears, the rhythm begins to change once more. Heart rate rises slightly. Blood pressure begins to climb in preparation for waking. Hormones such as cortisol are released in small amounts, gently stirring the body toward alertness. And with the first stretch, the first breath, the heart is ready to resume its daytime pace. These shifts from day to night, from activity to stillness, are part of a larger natural flow. They are not forced. They are not abrupt. They follow the sun, the breath, and the body's quiet wisdom. Even when disrupted by stress, by irregular sleep, by emotion, the heart seeks to return to rhythm. It knows the path. It finds its way back. Some researchers have studied these patterns in great detail, noting how the risk of certain cardiac events is slightly higher in the early morning, when the transition from sleep to wake is most dramatic. But this too is a reminder of the body's sensitivity, not its fragility. It is aware. It is adjusting. It is always listening. And so, the daily rhythms of the heart are not merely mechanical, they are musical, a score that plays beneath all else, a tempo that shifts with light, with rest, with thought. Even now, as you lie in stillness, your heart is part of this cycle. It knows you are resting. It knows the pace to keep. It keeps watch, so you do not have to. In the next part, we will explore how the circulatory system appears across the animal kingdom, how creatures large and small have developed their own variations of this essential system. But for now, rest easy in your rhythm. Your heart is aligned with the turning world. It has guided you through every day and night, and it will continue to do so, quietly, faithfully, always in time. Part 19. The circulatory system in other animals. As we've explored the intricacies of your own circulatory system, the flow of blood, the beat of the heart, the wisdom of balance, we now gently widen our view. For life comes in many forms, and while the design of the human body is familiar, the natural world offers many quiet variations on this theme. From the smallest insect to the largest whale, the circulatory system appears across the animal kingdom, in forms both simple and complex, each suited to its environment, each a silent solution to the same need: to carry, to nourish, to sustain. Let us begin with a distinction. In biology, circulatory systems are generally described as either open or closed. In a closed circulatory system, such as in humans and other vertebrates, blood is contained entirely within vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries. It moves in loops, driven by a heart, directed with precision. In an open circulatory system, found in many invertebrates such as insects and mollusks, there are no closed vessels. Instead, a fluid called hemolymph bathes the organs directly in an open cavity. The heart pumps this fluid forward, and it slowly percolates back, exchanging nutrients and waste before re-entering the heart through small openings. Though simpler, the open system is effective in creatures with slower metabolisms or less oxygen demand. It is not better or worse, only different. Nature creates with quiet precision. Now, let us turn to some specific examples, moving gently across the branches of the animal tree. Among fish, the circulatory system is closed, but consists of only one loop. The heart, which typically has two main chambers, an atrium and a ventricle, pumps blood forward to the gills. There, oxygen is absorbed, and carbon dioxide is released. The oxygenated blood then flows directly to the rest of the body, before returning to the heart. This single-loop design is well suited to the aquatic world, where the fish's cool, slow-moving environment allows for efficient exchange with minimal pressure. Amphibians, such as frogs and salamanders, offer another variation. They have a three-chambered heart, two atria, and one ventricle. Oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood mix slightly in the ventricle, but the system is still effective, especially since amphibians also absorb oxygen through their moist skin. They live between two worlds, water and land, and so does their circulation. In reptiles, the heart becomes slightly more specialized. Most reptiles also have a three-chambered heart, but with a partially divided ventricle, allowing more separation between oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. This allows for better control over circulation, especially in warm-blooded or active species. Then we come to birds and mammals, including humans. In these animals, the heart is fully divided into 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. There is complete separation between oxygen, rich, and oxygen, poor blood. This design allows for high-pressure systemic circulation and low-pressure pulmonary circulation, a balance that supports high levels of activity and the regulation of constant body temperature. Birds, in particular, have hearts that beat rapidly and powerfully, supporting their energy-intensive flight. Some small birds may have resting heart rates that exceed 400 beats per minute, soaring even higher in flight. And among mammals, the variety continues. The heart of a mouse, for example, is small and fast, beating over 600 times per minute. The heart of a whale is enormous and slow, beating only a few times each minute, but with powerful force, capable of sending blood across a massive body with ease. Even invertebrates offer remarkable adaptations. The octopus, for instance, has 3 hearts, 2 to pump blood through the gills, and 1 to send it through the rest of the body. Their blood, rather than being iron-rich and red like ours, is based on copper, and so appears blue. Insects, like bees and grasshoppers, rely on open systems and do not use blood to carry oxygen at all. Instead, they breathe through small tubes called tracheae, while their hemolymph delivers nutrients and removes waste in a slower, less pressurized rhythm. Each system, from the simplest insect to the most complex mammal, is perfect for the life it serves. There is no single blueprint. There is only adaptation, quiet changes over time, shaped by need, environment, and possibility. And yet, a common thread connects them all: the need to move, to nourish, to cleanse, to connect. Whether through arteries, open spaces, or copper-colored streams, life flows. In our final part, we will gently close this journey, reflecting on the beauty and simplicity of the circulatory system and the calm wisdom it brings to every moment of life. But for now, let yourself rest in the knowledge that you are part of a vast, quiet tapestry of life, that within you, as within every living creature, something flows unseen, unbroken, and filled with purpose. Part 20. Closing Reflections, the Heartbeat of Life. And now, as we come to the end of this gentle journey, let us return to where we began, to the quiet pulse within you, the silent rhythm that has been with you from the very first breath and even before. The circulatory system, with all its complexity and wonder, is ultimately simple in its purpose. It moves, it nourishes, it connects. From the steady beat of the heart, to the branching paths of arteries, veins, and capillaries, to the flowing life within the blood itself, this system is a quiet guardian. It does not speak. It does not pause. It simply serves. It delivers oxygen to your cells, not with haste, but with grace. It carries nutrients drawn from the earth, from fruit, from grain, from water, and brings them gently to your muscles, your skin, your brain. It gathers waste, excess, and byproducts, and escorts them from your body without protest, without fatigue. It listens, responds, and adjusts. It feels the warmth of the day, the stillness of sleep, the pull of gravity, the calm of rest. It adapts to growth, to change, to need. It never stops learning how to support you better. In all the days you've lived, through every joy and sorrow, every breath taken in sleep, every step taken in light, your circulatory system has moved with you, quietly, constantly, always in rhythm. And as you rest now, perhaps already drifting further into sleep, it continues. The blood still flows, the heart still beats, the vessels still carry, without asking, without fanfare. The body is not made of separate parts, but of unity, and the circulatory system is what holds that unity together. It is the thread that ties every cell to the next, the highway for communication, for nourishment, for care. And so, whether you are still or moving, awake or asleep, the heartbeat continues, steady, soft, sustaining. In the ancient silence of the night, your heart speaks only in rhythm. In that rhythm is life. In that life, peace. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to know, only this. You are supported. You are sustained. You are safe. And as you sleep, the heartbeat goes on a quiet reminder of your body's wisdom and the grace that flows within you, always.